Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm so happy to have you here. Today's video is part of my Teacher Tip Tuesday series, where my goal is to bring you teaching-related advice every Tuesday in no more than 5 to 10 minutes. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss next week's Teacher Tip Tuesday. This week's topic is managing undesirable student behaviors. Today I'm bringing to you 7 tips from being proactive versus reactive and trying to avoid the behaviors altogether to managing them when they do occur. This is a topic that I feel really passionately about. If you're new here, I'm in my 11th year as an educator. I taught 6th grade for 9 years, and this is my 2nd year in 4th grade. And of course, student behaviors are part of being a teacher. Student behaviors are one of the things that I struggled with most in my early years as a teacher. Early on in my teaching career, I would have loved to have had the advice that I'm about to share with you. I think it really could have helped me to settle into being a teacher a little bit more quickly. Student behavior is one of the #1 things you're going to deal with on a daily basis as a teacher. We go to college and we student teach and we kind of get a feel for what life is going to look like in the classroom, but if you're like me, then you didn't realize just how much student behavior you were going to be dealing with on a regular basis. I had it in my head that I was going to be doing a whole lot of teaching, and I needed to know lots of things about math and science and social studies and reading and writing, and those things were going to make me a good teacher. And I wasn't wrong. Those things are important and do help us to be effective with our students, but if you're going to even get to the academics with your students, you're going to have to make sure that their behaviors are under control. And our kids are coming to us from a variety of backgrounds. Some of them have home lives that support them better than others, and therefore they're able to regulate themselves more effectively in the classroom. So we need to be ready to embrace all of our students. My biggest piece of advice related to this topic is to be proactive versus reactive. What I mean by this is be thinking ahead of time how you can work to avoid student behaviors that are negative or disruptive to the classroom versus waiting until they happen and then trying to take care of them after they've happened. By being proactive versus reactive, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and energy, and your classroom is also going to function more smoothly, and your students are going to have a more effective opportunity to learn. All right, let's dive into the 7 tips I have for you today. Tip number 1, avoid a power struggle. Stay calm, choose your words carefully. If you sense yourself feeling like you're about to just boil over, if you're seeing red, take a break, pause. Don't continue to interact with the student or students in that situation because you're not in the right space to be doing that. I have been involved in power struggles with students early on in my teaching career, and I can tell you that 100% of the time, it didn't go well. So let me save you some of those struggles from my own experience and just say avoiding power struggles altogether is much more effective. And if you don't know how to avoid the power struggle, just take a step back. Find a different activity to help that student process. Maybe they just fill out a behavior form on a piece of paper so that you have time to go take a couple of deep breaths and they have a safe space and a designated activity to be focusing on. Number 2, make sure that you have a system in place for acknowledging desired behaviors. When you're acknowledging desired behaviors within your classroom, students pick up on that. They see what their peers are doing, they see what their peers are earning for that positive behavior, and it inspires them to want to behave the same way in hopes that they're going to have the same outcome of earning whatever it is that their peers have earned. One thing that I do in my classroom to acknowledge positive behaviors and other good choices is I use B-Shard bucks. And so my last name is B-Shard, so funny little way to get the kids' attention and make them excited about it. I call them B-Shard bucks, has a nice ring to it. We have Bank B-Shard where they can store their money. It's a whole big thing. I can talk about it in another video if you'd like, but to keep this within 5 to 10 minutes, I'm not gonna say too much about it now. But it's a really fun system that the kids look forward to. I receive a lot of positive feedback from parents regarding the B-Shard buck system that I do with my students. There are a variety of other strategies and techniques that you can use to acknowledge desired behaviors in your classroom. Tip number 3 goes kind of hand in hand with tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to focus on rewards versus punishments. When you take the time to have a reward system in place for acknowledging your students' positive behavior and good choices, your students are more likely to make those good choices to earn that reward. Another big piece of advice that I have that goes along with tip number 3 is don't take earned things away. I had a year in my teaching career where I used my B-Shard buck system and I had consequences that involved fines, and students could lose B-Shard bucks for various things, and that was a big backfire. It just didn't go the way I wanted it to. I was trying to apply sort of real life to the classroom, where if you're speeding and you get a ticket, you end up having to pay for that sort of thing. And that was the mentality that I was going with, but it just wasn't the right move for the classroom. And so since that year where I just saw it kind of implode, I have chosen not to take B-Shard bucks away, and that's had a much more effective outcome. Students really appreciate knowing that when they've earned B-Shard bucks, they've earned them, and they're not going to have them taken away even if they make a bad choice. So giving them that security just makes them that much more motivated to earn them, because when they think, oh, well, if I earn them, I could just turn around and lose them if I'm having a bad day or whatever it may be, they're not as motivated to even care about trying to earn them, because they're just afraid that after they earn them, they're going to lose them. So knowing that they earn them and they are theirs is very empowering to them, and it does really further encourage those positive choices to earn the reward and know that they get to keep it. Until they choose to spend it, of course. Tip number 4, make sure that you set expectations for behavior in your classroom with your students early on. That's the proactive piece in this tip. And then when inevitably behaviors happen that don't follow your expectations, be prepared to restate those expectations in that setting. Whatever expectations apply in that situation, restate them. And it's not going to be something that's new to the student, because the expectations will have been previously taught. And so they're going to be hearing something that they have heard before. And because it won't be new to them, it's going to sink in a little bit better. It will go further with them. They will care more about it. I also suggest posting your classroom expectations somewhere within your classroom so they can be referred to by yourself and your students all throughout the year. Tip number 5, again, trying to be proactive. Before behaviors have even occurred, take the time to go over how students are supported when they're struggling behaviorally in your classroom. In my classroom, this looks like a take a break space. It's a calm space where there are some things students can fidget with. There are some positive signs around on the walls, and it gives them an opportunity to just be in that space, fidget their fingers, move their body a little bit, and have positivity around them. I also have a buddy teacher. That's a system we use at the school where I teach, and so if the take a break space is not enough for the student, then we can have them take a break in a buddy teacher space, and we have a couple of other strategies that we try as well. Tip number 6. I wasn't prepared for that because I normally only go to 5. So tip number 6 is proximity. If you know that you have a student who struggles more behaviorally for whatever reason it may be, proximity to you is going to be super powerful. And this is another proactive versus reactive strategy. If you have a student near you and within close proximity to you, you're serving 2 purposes. 1, they may be less likely to choose negative behaviors because they know they're close to you. And 2, being close to you might actually be giving them that attention that they're needing, and so they might be just less interested in engaging in negative or less desirable behaviors. Lastly, tip number 7, understanding and empathy. Understanding and empathy go a really long way. Our students are coming to us with a variety of situations. Some of them might not have had a great dinner the night before or any dinner the night before. Some of them could be homeless and they are just couch surfing from one place to another. Taking the time to just think about, what is my student going through? What needs do they have that aren't being met? What could really be driving these negative behaviors? What is the reason that they might be engaging in these negative behaviors? Do they have basic needs that are going unmet? When students' basic needs are going unmet, they can't function and they can't engage in positive behaviors because they're just in kind of this turbulence of knowing that they need something but not always having the ability or the skills to voice what they're needing. So if you take a minute to just take a step back and figure out what need that they are experiencing that we can work to meet, and then when that initial need is met, they're going to be calmer and more collected and in a position where they're a little bit more capable of engaging in those positive behaviors we're looking for. And just love them for the little people that they are. Treat them with respect, regardless of the ways that they behave. Those are the 7 tips I have for you today related to undesirable student behaviors and how to avoid them and manage them when they do inevitably still occur. I hope that you have found one or more of these tips helpful and that you will be able to use them to make things smoother in your experience as an educator. I really appreciate you joining me for today's Teacher Tip Tuesday. I hope you'll subscribe and stick around for next week's Teacher Tip Tuesday and all of the other content that I produce. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye! Side note, as you were probably hearing earlier in this video, I had some very happy guinea pigs downstairs, so the little squeaking, weaking noises that you were hearing were Fiona and Maeve.